over here, next. Yes.
Hello, George. I was wondering if you had any reservations about making your books into a TV series.
If I had any reservations, it's there's always a certain trepidation when you're going to sign the deal. Is this going to turn out well, or are they going to, are they going to ruin it? I liken it to a mother sending her children off to, daycare for the first time. I mean, you had this kid, and he's your kid, and you spent all the time with him, and you've been in charge, and now you're entrusting them to strangers. And are the strangers going to take good care of them? Is he going to get his milk and cookies in time? Or are they actually a bunch of child molesters who are just lurking there, and they're going to get the kid off, and you're going to be gone, and who the hell knows what they're going to do? But, I'd met the people involved. I loved HBO shows. I loved what they did with Rome and Deadwood. So they had a terrific track record. And David and Dan, I had several meetings with. We discussed what they wanted to do, and they said all the right things. I'd read their own work. They were both established writers themselves, and David Benioff in particular had done some amazing work with 25th Hour and Troy and his novels, City of Thieves, and 25th Hour was actually a novel before it was the movie. Kite Runner, so they'd done terrific work. So I didn't think they were child molesters. It seemed pretty good, and you have to take a chance sometime. What is it that Mariel Hemingway says to Woody Allen in Manhattan? There, sometimes you got to trust someone. So I did that too, and also the large dump truck of money that they pull up in front of your house sometimes sways you. And the other thing to keep in mind is that the books continue to exist by themselves. The Roger Zelazny, who was a good friend of mine, had the misfortune of having his novel Damnation Alley made into something that purports to be a film, and it was terrible. It was a piece of shit, but they completely ruined the book. But Roger built a whole new wing on his house with the money that they paid him for Damnation Alley, and when he was asked about it, he would always quote James M. Cain, the famous noir writer, who, when asked famously, "Well, Mr. Cain, what do you think about what Hollywood has done to your books?" He would just point to the wall and say, "Hollywood hasn't done anything to my books. They're right over there. They're on the shelves. They're exactly the way I wrote them. Not a word has been changed. So, go forth and enjoy them." And indeed, the original books sell more copies. One thing I've been adamant, though, from the very start of my association with Hollywood, and for every project I've ever done in Hollywood, is to retain full and complete publication rights in any deal, and to forbid any novelization. So if any movie is ever made of my work, we will re-release my original novel, and it will sell. We will not have a novelization, even if they completely trashed the novel and changed everything about it, people have to go to the original book, and the original book will benefit from any sales generated by the movie or the television show. We won't have some cheesy novelization written by a hack, which they like to do too, but that's one point where I draw my own personal line. That's always a deal breaker for me if they insist on novelization rights. So yeah, there's always trepidation, but it's worked out well in this case, and that's fine. You have to know who you're doing business with when you are dealing with Hollywood. If Steven Spielberg comes to you, or Guillermo del Toro comes to you when they want to option your work, that's one thing. If Jerry Bruckheimer comes to you, you got a different situation there, and you got to know what you're looking at going in.